This lecture, we are going to discuss the method, general method for finding particular integral, and shortcut method, one of the standard function in the shortcut method, that is e raised to x. So we'll try to cover these two parts in this lecture. Now, what is this particular integral? Okay. Now, for finding particular integral, there are three different methods. The first method is general method, second is shortcut method, and third one is method of variation of parameters. Okay, so one by one we'll discuss all these three methods to find PR. For finding complementary function YC, there is a unique method. You have to get the auxiliary equation, then depending on the roots of auxiliary equation, checking that four conditions, we can get the solution. Okay, but for particular integral, these are the three different methods: general method, shortcut method, method of variation of parameters. Okay. Now in this lecture, firstly I will deliver all the lecture, and then at the end, if you have any doubts, we'll clear that doubts. Okay. So we'll go for the general method. In general method, what we have to do, whatever equation in D with something into y is equal to some function is there. So whatever equation in D, we take it to other side. And if we have, while finding yp, if we get such type of term, 1 upon d minus m f of x. Okay, while simplifying, after simplification, if we get this function, then the formula in general method for this is e raised to mx integral e raised to minus mx f of x dx. Okay, so we just have to use this m, and then by using this formula, we get this integration. And solving this integration, we can get the yp part. Okay, so this is a standard formula, very easy, very important one. By that, solving this, using this formula and solving the integration, we can get the solution. But it may happen that instead of minus m, if we have plus m, then what to do? So for that, we have the next formula, 1 upon d plus m f of x. It will be, wherever m is there, replace it by minus m. Minus minus, it becomes plus m. So wherever m is there, replace it by minus m. So it becomes 1 upon d plus m f of x is equal to e raised to minus mx integral e raised to mx f of x dx. Okay, and then solving this integration, we get the solution. Okay, so if you remember this single formula, we can easily get this next formula. Okay, now it may happen that instead of single term, we have more terms. Suppose we have two terms. Okay, before that, if this m becomes 0, if this m is 0, we get 1 upon d f of x, and e raised to 0x integral e raised to minus 0x f of x dx. E raised to 0, 1. It becomes 1 integral 1 into f of x dx. That will be integral f of x dx. Last time we saw that d stands for derivative, and 1 by d f of x, that 1 by d stands for integration. Okay, integration is nothing but antiderivative. Opposite of derivative is integration. So if d is there, it is a derivative. 1 by d is there, it is the integration of the function. Okay. Now, if we have two terms instead of single term, if you have product of two terms, d minus m1 into d minus m2 f of x. Okay, either minus m1 or plus m1, any term is there. Then how to solve that? Now to solve that, there are two different methods. One of the method is apply any one bracket on this by using the standard formulas. To take either d minus m2 on f of x. If we apply this on this by using this formula, we get e raised to m2x integral e raised to minus m2x f of x dx. Solve this integration. After solving all this term, whatever term we get on this side, apply d minus m1 on this by using this formula again. Correct? And then solution of that gives us the answer. Okay, so if we have a product of two terms, to take any one bracket, apply on this by using the standard formulas, solve that integration, and next apply the second bracket and then simplify it. Okay, so you can use any bracket first and then simplify. And there is one more way, that is by using separation, partial fraction. Okay. Now how to use partial fraction easily? Okay, you take 1 upon single term minus 1 upon that other term. Take a subtraction of 1 minus first term minus 1 upon first term minus 1 upon second term. And then how to get this outside term? Just do the cross multiplication. If you multiply 1 to this, it becomes d minus m2. Multiply 1 to this with minus sign, become minus d minus minus plus m1. Minus d plus d get cancelled, minus m2 plus m1. That is nothing but the term on other outside, which is outside. Okay, so just separate it out, do cross multiplication, whatever term we get in the numerator, extra term, divide it by that. That is how we can easily use partial fraction. Otherwise, we have to take a upon this minus b upon this, and then we have to find a and b. That become difficult. So this is the easy way by which we can do the partial fraction. Or you can remember this as a standard formula. Anyway, you can do that. Okay. Again, if you have three terms, again one by one apply the bracket and simplify, or use a partial fraction for three terms. But generally on this general method, we have a problems in which maximum two terms are there, product of two terms are there. So you can remember this. Now you can use either of this method, you get the same answer. We just have to check the convenience. If you use this first method, what to do? We have to first solve this integration, and then by applying this again on that, we have to solve one more integration of this. So it is sort of double integration. Here, if we separate it out, apply this on this separately, apply this on this separately, then by this we get one single integration, by this we get single integration. So it is a sort of solving two single integrations. Okay, so this is sort of a double integration, and this is sort of two single integration. And solving two integration is always convenient than solving one double integration. Okay. So generally we use this second formula to get the solution. Now we'll take a problem and then we'll understand how to make use of this general method to get the solution. Consider the first problem. D square minus 3d plus 2y is equal to e raised to minus x. Now the solution of this will contain two parts, yc plus yp. Yc is a complementary function and yp is a particular integral. Now for finding yp, take all this equation which is there in bracket, equate it to 0. That will be auxiliary equation, d square minus 3d plus 2 equal to 0. Now find roots of this factors, so that addition is minus 3, multiplication is 2. And the factors are minus 1, minus 2. D minus 1, D minus 2 equal to 0. So D will be 1 and 2. Okay, or you can get these roots by using calculator also. Use the equation mode, it is a second order equation, put the coefficients and get these roots. Now how are these roots? These roots are real and distinct. Two roots, both are real and they are distinct. So use the first formula of a complementary function, real distinct. And by using that formula, yc will be c1 e raised to 1x plus c2 e raised to 2x. Okay, so this is the complementary function. Okay, now we have to go to particular integral. Yp is equal to 1 upon d square minus 3d plus 2, taking just all this term in the bracket to other side. That will be yp is equal to 1 upon all this term, apply it on e raised to minus x. Now, we have taken the formula of general method in which we are having the product of d minus something or d plus something. We want single d, but here we have a square. But we know the factors of this. Factors are d minus 1 and d minus 2. Okay, so we can write this in terms of factors. 1 upon d minus 1 into 1 upon into d minus 2 e raised to minus x. And now we can use any method to simplify it. Either apply this d minus 2 on this and simplify, or apply d minus 1 on this and simplify, separate it out. Or other one is separate this by using partial fraction. And separation is quite convenient. So we are taking 1 upon d minus 1 minus 1 upon d minus 2 If we do cross multiplication, it becomes d minus 2 minus d plus 1. So minus 2 plus 1 is the term which we have to take outside. Or you take this as m1, this as m2, and this is by using m1 plus m1 minus m2, we can get this term. Now separate it out. Apply this on this 1 upon d minus m f of x. Standard formula of general method. M is 1, here m is 2. This become minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. Take that minus sign outside. It is minus e raised to mx, m is 1, integral e raised to minus mx, that is e raised to minus 1x, f of x, this is f of x, e raised to minus x, dx, plus m is 2 over here, so it is e raised to 2x, integral e raised to minus mx, that is e raised to minus 2x, f of x, dx. Okay. Now solve both this integration and get the solution. Okay. Now look at this integration. Here we are in e raised to some function, and here we are in e raised to minus x. Direct integration of this is not known. Product of two terms, so we can try with integration by parts, but finding the derivative of this or integration of this is quite difficult. So using integration by parts is not at all convenient. But if you look at this function, e raised to some function is there. What is that function? E raised to minus x. And what is the derivative of this function? Minus of e raised to minus x. And that we can easily adjust over here. If we are in e raised to some function whose derivative can be easily adjusted, then we go for substitution. Again, same thing over here, second integration. E raised to minus x, derivative of that is e raised to minus x, minus e raised to minus x. And that also we can adjust it here by splitting it. We can split this as e raised to minus x, e raised to minus x. Okay, split this into two parts, e raised to minus x, e raised to minus x. And then by that derivative of this get adjusted easily. So in that case, we can do substitution, e raised to minus x is equal to t. Because of this substitution, what happened? Derivative of e raised to minus x is minus e raised to minus x dx is equal to dt. So this e raised to minus x dx become minus dt. One of the e raised to minus x dx become minus dt. And rest of the terms do the substitution. Now we are doing the substitution for solving integration. So these outside terms you can keep as it is. So keeping these terms as it is, minus e raised to minus x as it is, integral e raised to minus x dx is minus dt. This become e raised to t plus e raised to 2x as it is, integral 1 e raised to minus x dx become minus dt. 1 e raised to minus x become t, e raised to t, dt. Correct? Okay, we are splitting this. One part with dx become minus dt, one part become t, and this become e raised to t. So this is a single term, e raised to t. Integration of that we get directly. But here there are two terms, t into e raised to t. And whenever we are in the product of two terms, we can go for integration by parts. And what is the rule? Integral uv is equal to u integral v minus integral of derivative of first term, integral of second term. Okay. For that we have to choose properly u and v. Okay. So in this, choosing t as u as t and v as e raised to t. Because derivative of t become 1 and then rest of the part become easy to calculate. So taking u as t, t into integration of e raised to t minus derivative of integral of derivative of t integration of e raised to t. Integration of e raised to t is e raised to t again. Derivative of t is 1. 1 into e raised to t is e raised to t. And integration of e raised to t is again e raised to t. So it becomes t. Integration is e raised to t minus e raised to t. So integration of this part is t e raised to t minus e raised to t by using this formula. Minus minus it becomes plus. This minus taking outside. E raised to t is e raised to t. Okay, the integration of this is again e raised to t. Now substitute the value of t back, because the original equation is in terms of x and y. So substitute, we must get answer in x and y. So put this value of t back. So it becomes e raised to minus x minus e raised to 2x as it is, e raised to minus x, e raised to minus x, minus e raised to minus x. Simplify it, take e raised to 2x inside, e raised to minus x, e raised to 2x. Some terms get cancelled. We get e raised to plus x, e raised to minus x, minus minus plus e raised to 2x into e raised to minus x. Now this become e raised to x into e raised to minus x. Same term we have here. So that two terms get cancelled. So the answer is e raised to 2x into e raised to minus x. So this is yp. And addition of yc and yp gives us the solution y is equal to c1 e raised to x plus c2 e raised to 2x plus e raised to 2x into e raised to minus x. So this is the solution. So carefully remember the method. Method is very easy. The solution will be of in the two parts, yc plus yp. For finding yc, take the auxiliary equation, equate it to 0, find the roots of it, check the nature, whether they are real distinct, real repeated, imaginary distinct, imaginary repeated. Depending on that, we get yc part. For finding yp, take all this term to other side, find the factors of it, separate it by using partial fraction, apply it separately on each term. Okay, and after that, use the standard formula of 1 upon d minus m or 1 upon d plus n, whichever term is there, and solve the integration. And that gives us the solution of it. Okay. The next problem, d square plus 4y is equal to cosec 2x. Again, same thing. Y will be in two parts, yc plus yp. For finding yc, consider the auxiliary equation. Auxiliary equation will be taking all this term in bracket to 0. That is d square plus 4 equal to 0. Find the roots of this equation. D square become minus 4. So d become plus or minus square root of minus 4. Whenever we take a square root, we always have to take plus or minus. And square root of minus 4, square root of negative number is a complex number, imaginary number. And square root of minus 4 is nothing but 2i. So d become plus or minus 2i. Okay. Imaginary roots always occur in pair, that we saw in the first lecture. Okay. So the roots are alpha plus or minus I beta. Alpha is 0 here and beta is 2. So use the standard formula of imaginary distinct roots, alpha plus or minus I beta. And the formula is e raised to alpha x into c1 cos beta x plus c2 sin beta x. Take alpha as 0 and beta as 2. That is e raised to 0x, that is 1. So not written. C1 cos 2x plus C2 sin 2x. So YC part is all this term. Now YP. YP will be taking all this term to other side. That is 1 upon d square plus 4 cosec 2x. Now we are taking the formula for particular general method in which we have d minus something or d plus something. So try to find the factors of this. Now we know what are the roots of this equation, plus 2i minus 2i. So d minus each root, that gives us the factors of this. So write d minus 2i, d minus of minus 2i, that are the factors of this equation. So write this equation, this term in the factors. So you can take d plus 2i, d minus 2i, d minus of one root, d minus other root, minus of minus, it becomes plus 2i, d plus d minus 2i, that is another root. Okay, so we get this. Now again, if you want, you can simplify it by using 1 by 1 each bracket, or you can separate it by using partial fraction. Easy way to use the partial fraction is take 1 upon first term minus 1 upon second term. Do cross multiplication, d minus 2i minus d minus 2i. D get cancelled, minus 2i minus 2i. That term we get outside. Or you take m1, m2 and outside corresponding m1 minus m2. Okay, m2 minus m1 cosec 2x. Okay, And now use the formula 1 upon d plus m f of x, and here use the formula 1 upon d minus m f of x. Okay, use that standard formula of general method. That become 1 upon minus 4i. M is 2i, so it is e raised to minus mx, e raised to minus 2ix, integral e raised to 2ix f of x. F of x is cosec 2x dx minus e raised to minus of this, that is 2ix, integral e raised to minus 2ix cosec 2x dx. Okay, now we have to solve both this integration. Now look at the term in the integration. This is exponential term, this is trigonometric term. Integration of this is log of something, that is not easy. Means if you use integration by parts, okay, derivative of this also gives us more term. Okay, so using integration by parts is not convenient. Okay, direct formula of this is also not known. So try to simplify it. Try to convert this integration in the single form. This is exponential, this is trigonometric. Check whether this can be converted to exponential or this exponential can be converted to trigonometry. And we have already learned one formula, that is Euler's formula. E raised to I theta, it is cos theta plus I sin theta. Okay, okay, this is the expansion of exponential function in terms of trigonometric term. E raised to I theta is cos theta plus I sin theta. So we can make use of this to simplify it. Okay, so e raised to 2x, you can convert it in sine and cos. Same thing over here. Cosec is nothing but 1 by sine. Okay, so this full integration we can convert it in trigonometry. And this simplification we are doing for integration only. So outside term we can keep as it is. Okay, so e raised to 2x become cos 2x plus I sin 2x. Cosec is nothing but 1 by sine. E raised to minus 2x is cos of minus 2x plus I sin minus 2x. But cos of minus theta is same as cos theta. Sine of minus theta is minus sin theta. So this e raised to minus 2x become cos 2x. This become minus I sin 2x. Cosec is 1 by sine. Correct? So we just convert this integration in terms of trigonometric terms. Okay? Outside term we keep it as it is because we are doing, we just have to solve the integration. So outside term you can keep as it is. Now, again, direct integration is not possible. So what to do? Separate out the denominator. Cos by sine, sine by sine. Separate out denominator in both the integration. So the integration, just separate out denominator. What is cos by sine? Cos by sine is cot. Sine by sine get cancelled. Only I will remain here. Again, this is cos by sine is cot. Sine by sine get cancelled. It becomes e raised to minus 2x integral of cot plus I dx minus e raised to 2ix cot 2x plus I dx. Now we know what is the integration of cot. Integration of cot is nothing but log of sine 2x divided by derivative of 2x, that is 2. Same thing here, I is a constant, derivative integration of dx is nothing but x. So this become log sine and this become I into x. E raised to minus 2ix log sine 2x divided by derivative of 2x is 2ix minus e raised to 2ix log sine 2x by 2 minus ix. Correct? So this is the answer. If you want, you can further simplify this answer so that this imaginary part can be removed. So for doing that, collect this log terms together, collect this x term together, take log sine 2x common and multiply I inside, multiply minus sign inside and take log terms together. If we take log sine 2x term together, keep 4 as it is, multiply I inside, multiply minus sign inside. This minus, it become plus 2ix, this become minus 2ix, and this 2 into this I, it become 2i. From this I get cancelled, ix, and this I get cancelled. Take x common, rest of the term become e raised to minus 2x e raised to 2x. Okay, this is plus, this minus minus, it is plus. Minus sign keeping as it is. 4 splitting it as 2 into 2. Why we are doing this simplification? Because there are some standard formulas for this e raised to 2ix minus e raised to minus 2ix by 2I, and formula for e raised to 2ix plus e raised to minus 2ix by 2. Okay, by using Euler's formula, we can get the values of these two terms, and that formulas are e raised to I theta minus e raised to minus I theta divided by 2I is nothing but sine theta, and e raised to I theta plus e raised to minus I theta divided by 2 is cos theta. So we can make use of these two formulas over here, and these terms can be replaced by corresponding sine and cos. Now instead of I theta we are having 2ix. So take the corresponding angle. So yp become log of sine 2x by 4 into sine 2x minus x by 2 into all this term is nothing but cos 2x. And just add yc and yp, that gives us y c1 cos 2x plus c2 sine 2x plus log of sine 2x by 4 into sine 2x minus x by 2 cos 2x. So by making use of the proper use of formulas from shortcut general method, we can get this y. Okay, this was the first method to find yp. Now we'll start with the second method to find yp, that is shortcut method. Now in shortcut method, we have formulas for 5 different functions. 5 different standard function. For that only we can use shortcut method. General method can be used for any function. Shortcut method can be used only for these 5 standard functions. What are that functions? E raised to x, sine or cos ax plus b, x raised to m, or e raised to x into v, or x into v, where v is any function of x. So only for such type of function, this shortcut method is used. Okay. Now we'll see one by one what are the formulas or what are the ways to use shortcut method for these functions. So firstly, we'll consider the function e raised to ax. Now while finding yp, if we get this type of function, 1 upon phi of d e raised to ax, then by shortcut method, what to do? Wherever there is a d, replace it by a. It becomes 1 upon phi of a e raised to ax. The only thing we have to remember here is this phi of a should be non-zero term. Okay, it is very easy, no integration, nothing. It is very simple. Only thing is we have to do the replacement, and condition we have to remember is it should be non-zero. Means for example, if you want to solve 1 upon d plus 1 e raised to 2x. Okay, here we have d plus 1 and here we have e raised to 2x. Then by this shortcut method, wherever d is there, we have to replace it by a, that is 2. So it becomes 2 plus 1. 1 upon 2 plus 1 e raised to 2x. So answer is e raised to 2x by 3. No integration, nothing. The same problem you can solve it by general method also. But there we have to solve integration of formulas, many things we have to do. But in shortcut method, we can use these formulas directly. So because of that, by avoiding all that integration, we get the answer. Because of that, it is called as a shortcut method. The only problem with this is it is only for few functions, 5 functions only, not used for all the functions. Okay, so this first function e raised to x, what to do? Wherever d is there, replace it by a. Only thing, it should be non-zero. Now what happens if it becomes 0? After replacement, if it becomes 0, then we have to find the derivative of phi, find the derivative of that function, and then replace d by a. If that derivative is non-zero, if first derivative is non-zero, then the answer is x into 1 upon phi dash a e raised to x. Okay, we have to take a derivative and then do the replacement. If first derivative is non-zero, attach single x into that non-zero derivative e raised to x. It may happen that this first derivative is also 0. If phi dash is also 0, then what to do? Okay, we have to take a second derivative And if this second derivative is non-zero, then we have to attach x square into 1 upon that non-zero derivative e raised to x. And we have to continue this until we get some non-zero derivative. Okay, and whichever order derivative is non-zero, that much powers of x we have to attach. Third derivative is non-zero, x cube. Fourth derivative non-zero, x raised to 4. Like that we have to continue. Okay, so very easy method. After replacement non-zero, then directly substitute, get answer. 0, take derivative and then substitute. Whichever derivative is non-zero, that much powers of x attach 1 upon that non-zero derivative and e raised to that function. Okay, so no integration, simple substitutions are there. Just considering these restrictions, we can get the solution. Now, the same formulas can be used for some more functions. If we have a constant term, any constant term, then that constant term we can write it as constant into 1. K can be written as k into 1, and 1 can be written as e raised to 0x, because e raised to 0 is 1. So we can write k as k into e raised to 0x. K is a constant, we can take it outside, 1 upon pi of d e raised to 0x. And then we can use these formulas. Wherever a is there, instead of that we have 0. So replace d by 0. If it is non-zero term, that will be the answer, 1 upon pi of 0 e raised to 0x. If it is 0, take derivative, then replace d by 0. If it is non-zero, x into 1 upon pi dash 0 e raised to x. Like that we have to continue. So same formulas we use for constant term also. Constant, just write it as constant into e raised to 0x and replace a by 0. Okay. The next is a raised to x. Now, a raised to x, we can write it as e raised to x log a. Now, why we can write it in this form? Any number can be written as anti-log of a log of that number, e raised to log of this. E raised to log, anti-log of a log get cancelled and we get the original term again. So a raised to x, we can write it as e raised to log of a raised to x. And log of a raised to x is x log a. Okay, so this term is e raised to x log a. Now, the coefficient of x is log a. So wherever d is there, replace it by log a. Okay, so the answer for this will be 1 upon phi of log a e raised to x log a. If phi of log a not equal to 0. If it is 0, take derivative and then do the replacement. Same, follow the same process. Okay, so carefully remember these simple and basic formulas by which we can get the YP part. You will take a problem, then you understand this better way. But the first problem, d square plus 2d plus 1 y is equal to e raised to 2x plus e raised to minus x plus 3 plus 4 raised to x. Again, solution will be in two parts, yc plus yp. For finding yc, consider the auxiliary equation. Take all that equation, equate it to 0. That will be the auxiliary equation. D square plus 2d plus 1 equal to 0. Now find the roots of this equation. Find the values of d from it. You can use calculator or directly also you can get the factors. It is nothing but d plus 1 whole term square. D square plus 2d plus 1, it is nothing but d plus 1 whole term square. Equate it to 0. We get d plus 1 equal to 0 two times because square is there. So d equal to minus 1 minus 1. Square is there, so we get two roots. So d equal to minus 1 minus 1. And these roots are real. Minus 1 is real, but it is repeated. So use the condition of real, repeated. Real and repeated two times. So we take the constant c1 plus c2x e raised to this root minus 1x. c1 plus c2x e raised to minus 1x. If it is repeated three times, we take c1 plus c2x plus c3x square. We have to increase powers of x. Depending on how many times it is repeated, that much constant with increasing powers of x we have to take into e raised to that root, e raised to minus 1x. Now yp, take all this term to other side, 1 upon d square plus 2d plus 1, apply it on this. Okay. Now this we can write d plus 1 square. Then you can use a general method. Apply d plus 1 first, solve it, then apply d plus 1. Okay, and then simplify it. Okay, but it become very lengthy because general method uh, we have to use the formulas and we have to solve the integration. That is very lengthy. But we know the shortcut method for e raised to ax. This is in that form. This is also in that form. A is minus 1. A is 2 here. Constant term we can write as constant into e raised to 0x. A raised to x we can write it as e raised to x log a. So for this we can use the shortcut method. So first apply this separately on each term and convert this into standard form. So separating it, applying this on e raised to 2x, e raised to minus x, 3 into e raised to 0x, and this is e raised to x log 4. Correct? Now, by shortcut method, what to do? Wherever there is a d, replace it by a. So replace d by 2 if it is non-zero, 2 square plus 2 into 2 plus 1, non-zero term. So no problem, do the replacement. Replace d by minus 1. Minus 1 square is 1 plus 2 into minus 1 is minus 2 plus 1. It becomes 0. Okay. So if after replacement it becomes 0, take that as phi of d. We cannot do replacement directly here because it becomes 0. And if it becomes 0, take that as phi of d, d square plus 2d plus 1. Replacing by minus 1, it gives 0. So find its derivative. And derivative of 2d square, d square plus 2d plus 1 is 2d plus 2. And then do the replacement. Replace it by minus 1. 2 into minus 1 plus 2, again 0. So take one more derivative. Derivative of 2d plus 2 is 2. And then do the replacement. As there is no d, so this constant term will remain as it is, 2, and which is non-zero. The second derivative is non-zero. So in that case, it will be x square into 1 upon this second derivative, e raised to minus x. Direct replacement, if it is non-zero. If it is 0, then go on taking derivative until it becomes non-zero. Here if we replace d by 0, 0 square plus 2 into 0 plus 1, it becomes 1, that is non-zero, no problem. Replace d by log 4, log 4 square plus 2 into log 4 plus 1. Okay, it will be non-zero because only for these two values it becomes 0, because these are the roots and value of log 4 is not minus 1. Okay, so for log 4 it cannot be 0. So first, third and fourth direct replacement, and for middle term we are following this derivative. So it becomes, replacing d by 2, we get this. Second derivative is non-zero, so we attach x square into that second derivative, plus 3 is constant, take it outside, replace d by 0 and replace d by log 4. We get this. Simplify it, substitute the value of f dash of minus 1, that is 2. Already we have calculated that. Put that value and simplify this. Okay, so yp becomes e raised to 2x by 9 plus x square e raised to minus x by 2 plus 3 plus 4 raised to x by log 4 square plus 2 log 4 plus 1. And add yc plus yp, that gives us the solution. Okay. So this is very easy method, shortcut method. The only problem is available only for few functions. It cannot be used for all functions.